300 years ago, the world witnessed the arrival of countless secret kingdoms and dungeons that descended from the heavens. Along with them came powerful demons who proclaimed the apocalypse for humanity. In the midst of the initial chaos, the awakened emerged. These job changers possessed extraordinary powers that enabled them to defeat the monsters and save the world from near destruction. To continue the fight against these creatures, the job changers explored the secret kingdoms, seeking wealth and materials. Nations invested heavily in cultivating these individuals, allowing everyone to awaken at the age of 18. The day had come for the students to awaken their classes. To do so, each student had to touch a magical blue crystal. One by one, they approached the crystal. Wang W., a student from the third year of Class 2, touched the crystal but failed to awaken a class, earning the label of a student without a class. Meanwhile, Li W. from Class 3 of the same year successfully awakened the Swordsman class, and Wang H. from Class 3 of the second year awakened the Crafter class. The awakenings were divided into 3 categories: combat, support, and creation. The combat category was the most sought after, as it was the most practical. On the other hand, the creation category was least desired, as it was considered weak and those within it were often despised. As more students touched the crystal, a purple-haired student rejoiced as he awakened the combat category called Magic Swordsman. Conversely, another student cried upon awakening the creation category, questioning why he had received a class that was not suited for combat. The awakening ceremony also divided the classes into 4 ranks: common, secret, and divine, with the divine rank being the rarest, appearing only once every 100 years. It was now Zhang Chen's turn to touch the crystal. As he did, it began emitting a powerful light, astonishing the other students. A brown-haired boy pointed at Zhang Chen, declaring him the prodigy of the academy. Another student explained that this was a sign of an awakening. The light from the crystal intensified, advancing rapidly toward the sky. The students speculated about the rank of Zhang Chen's class, with many believing it could be a divine class, as Zhang City hadn't seen a divine talent in hundreds of years. Within seconds, the light formed a giant tree in the sky, visible from every corner of the city. It was said that a phenomenon of this magnitude occurred only when a divine rank class awakened. The awakening was successful. Zhang Chen stood there, one hand on the crystal and the other casually in his pocket, staring at the sky. At that moment, Director Wang appeared, approaching Zhang Chen to congratulate him. The director, although confident that Zhang Chen would awaken a combat class, had not anticipated a divine class. He asked Zhang Chen which class he had awakened, and Zhang Chen turned his head slightly towards the director. Zhang Chen was somewhat surprised, yet he managed a smile as he explained to Director Wang that the class he had awakened was not a combat class. Director Wang's eyes widened in shock, his expression mirroring his disbelief. Not a combat class? Director Wang asked, staring intently at Zhang Chen. Then did you awaken a support class? Zhang Chen turned to face the director fully, extending his hands to his sides. In his palms, ethereal plants made of spirits began to materialize. No, Director, Zhang Chen revealed. I have awakened the divine rank creation class known as Spiritual Master. This talent is meant to assist with the growth of plantations and small creatures. The revelation left everyone stunned. Director Wang's eyes bore into Zhang Chen as he struggled to process the information. This is unfortunate, he began, because the creation class, even at divine rank, is considered useless without combat abilities. The professor accompanying Director Wang tried to console Zhang Chen. Don't be discouraged, he said gently. Even if you can't fight, you can be safe. Spiritual masters are quite popular in the field of research. While the recommendation I promised is no longer feasible, I can help you get a letter of recommendation for research. Before the professor could finish, Zhang Chen interrupted with a smile. Thank you, Professor, he said, hands sliding into his jacket pockets. But I have something else to attend to. With that, he began walking away. Laughter erupted from one of the students. This is a joke, he said to his friend. We all thought Zhang Chen had awakened some divine combat class, but it's just the creation class. His friend chuckled, putting a hand to his face. Life is full of surprises. Everyone thought the prodigy of the academy would awaken a combat class. Now, no matter how much he excelled academically, he's considered useless. Zhang Chen, hands in his pockets, headed towards the exit, ignoring the mocking comments around him. One student remarked, it's quite enjoyable to watch. Zhang Chen has been the king of hard work since he entered the academy. Another chimed in, he worked so hard only to end up with a creation class. And look at Lin, the school beauty. She awakened a secret combat class. Despite the jeers, Zhang Chen smiled inwardly. Moments ago, these same students had been cruel to him, and now his unexpected awakening had changed everything. He realized that in this world, only strength mattered, but he couldn't understand what was so wrong with the creation class. Determined to find out, Zhang Chen reached out his hand, and a system window appeared above his palm. According to the system notification, Zhang Chen had successfully completed his class awakening. He had indeed awakened the class called Divine Rank Spirit Master. With the initial Mother of Insects unlocked, the conditions for activating the Natural Calamity Insect system were fulfilled. Zhang Chen turned his head to the side, a satisfied smile spreading across his face as he stared at the system window. This class was a perfect fit for him. Our protagonist, Zhang Chen, had a remarkable story. After dying, he was reborn into this awakened world. Following the Dark Era, the world became infested with monsters and dungeons, and society began to revere strength above all. Reborn as an orphan, Zhang Chen had to give everything he had to survive in this harsh new world. Before turning 18, he believed he would have to rely solely on his own skills to make a living. However, a month ago, on an ordinary day, a system window appeared before him, informing him that the Insect Calamity system would merge with his class awakening and activate upon a successful transfer. Zhang Chen placed his hand on his chin, contemplating the system window. The insect race, which had once devastated humanity during the Dark Era, was incredibly powerful. He had heard that the last time a natural calamity occurred, 9 out of the 12 kings of the human race were sacrificed to seal it. Clenching his fist tightly, Zhang Chen reaffirmed that in this world, strength was everything. There was no room for doubt. As he stared fixedly at the system window, his body began to emit a powerful energy. He thought that if he could harness the strength of the insect race for himself, they would stand no chance against him. Without hesitation, Zhang Chen activated the system. Instantly, he was teleported inside it. Looking around, somewhat confused, he tried to get his bearings. He shaded his eyes with his hand and realized he was in his own sea of consciousness. In front of him stood a great spiritual tree. He wondered if this was his talent. He hadn't expected it to be a tree. More system windows appeared, revealing several class talents. These talents were evolutions of all things, requiring sacrifice and usable once every 10 days, limited to 1 use per target. The first talent, Fruits of All Things, allowed Zhang Chen to advance the growth progress of fruits through sacrifice, with a special fruit randomly falling. The second talent, Improved Growth, increased the growth rate of living beings by 10%. Using this ability, Zhang Chen could accelerate growth, with a cooldown duration of 8 hours. Zhang Chen pondered the system's analysis of his talents. Though they lacked combat abilities, each one could be applied to his system. Just then, a system window appeared, asking if he would like to start summoning the mother insect. Without hesitation, Zhang Chen confirmed. An evil energy began to emerge from the ground, and a system notification informed him that the mother insect was being summoned. As the sinister energy rose, Zhang Chen marveled at its strength. Several seconds later, another system window appeared, announcing the successful summoning of the natural calamity rank mother insect, 9 Wings of Miasma. The mother of insects was a gigantic creature, and she fixed her gaze on Zhang Chen, who instinctively took several steps back, awestruck by her presence. Zhang Chen was amazed as the status window of the mother of insects appeared. She was called 9 Wings of Miasma, a fearsome entity from the abyss known as the Sovereign of Death. Once, as a calamity, she had wrought destruction as great as a natural disaster before disappearing during the Third Era. Her current devouring value was 0%, but Zhang had a 100% affinity with her. To unlock abilities, he needed to proceed with devouring and start breeding the next generation of insects. The insect mother approached Zhang, her enormous size astounding him. As she stared at him, she addressed him as her master, introducing herself as Little Nine. She explained that she was very hungry and wanted to devour fierce beasts. Another system window appeared, informing Zhang that the growth rate of the insect mother had increased by 10%. He could use a sacrificial object to enhance this target, but the first enhancement would not consume any objects due to his talent. Zhang slightly raised his head, looking at the system window. Realizing he didn't need to use a sacrificial object, he decided there was no time to waste. Without hesitation, he asked the system to upgrade the insect mother. Her body began to envelop itself in a powerful green light. As Zhang observed, he thought about her need to devour to level up, recognizing she wouldn't be easy to satisfy. The body of the insect mother emitted a powerful aura. Instinctively, Zhang assumed an offensive stance. Little by little, the insect mother began to evolve, taking on the form of a human woman. Seconds later, she had successfully evolved. Her body radiated a powerful aura, her white hair flowing, and she wore armor with a murderous look. She stared at Zhang, slowly advancing towards him. A system window appeared above her head, indicating that the Queen of the New Plague had undergone a vital transition and leveled up, gaining new abilities. The first ability was called Nurture, allowing her to share experience 10 times with the host. The second ability was Poisonous Mist, enabling her to transform into deadly miasma, corroding everything. The third and final ability was Communion, enhancing all of the host's abilities by 20%. Zhang was surprised by the insect mother's new form. She gained momentum and pounced on him, giving him a hug. Little Nine has evolved, she exclaimed. Zhang, somewhat confused, didn't fully grasp what was happening. He turned his head slightly towards her, trying to understand. Zhang Chen couldn't help but blush upon seeing the insect mother evolve into a human form. She stopped hugging him, and he gently stroked her head. She closed her eyes, clenched both fists, and, with a smile, referred to him as Master. She explained that Little Nine wanted to devour flesh and blood. As Zhang continued stroking her head, a status window appeared above her, revealing her name as 9 Wings of Miasma. She possessed 4 abilities: Poison Mist, Feed, Fury, and United. Her current devouring value was 0, but once the bar was filled, she could start spawning offspring. She also had 2 passive abilities: Experience Return and Attribute Enhancement. Zhang observed the stat window and thought about the potential of his spiritual master talent. It could accelerate the devouring growth of the insect mother and her experience gain, which in turn would speed up his own improvement. Furthermore, the insect mother could increase all his attributes by 20%. Zhang realized that his class and the system were a perfect combination. With this, he didn't need a combat class. He extended his hands, and a swarm of insects began emerging from his palms. He watched them with amazement, realizing that as long as he killed and devoured quickly, he could soon have an army of insects. Turning his head towards the great spiritual tree, Zhang pondered the system message about the insects and the catastrophe as big as a natural calamity. He understood that this power was not something he could easily reveal to others, as being discovered could lead to his demise. Hands in his pockets, he stared at the spiritual tree and decided to use his class identity as a creation class and the poisonous miasma abilities of the insect mother to devour monsters and increase his strength. Hiding was not Zhang's style. He wanted to become strong enough to showcase his skills to the world. While lost in thought, the water in his sea of consciousness began to move. The insect mother quickly jumped up and started flying. As they both looked at the water, Zhang explained to her that this could only mean one thing. With a murderous look, the insect mother turned her head back, catching Zhang's attention. She smiled and explained that she sensed a threat. Zhang exited the system space and was shocked by what he saw. In front of him stood a man much taller than himself, with black hair, a beard, and a scar over his eye. The man approached Zhang, staring into his eyes in silence for several seconds before asking if the awakening phenomenon the whole city had witnessed was caused by him. Zhang clenched his teeth tightly, realizing that this man was at least a master rank or higher. He became alert, wondering why he was being sought after.